realized maybe we want to revisit and understand whether some of the measures that we've done have contributed to probably the problem that we have right now. We have, for example, now withdrawn the permit for the cereal beer flour that has been very common in the Mount Kenya region. However, just like CGKRA has said, sometimes when you tighten so much, you also allow unscrupulous traders to circumvent and produce this product outside. So it's a delicate balancing act that we are presented with here. Because most of the data that I wanted to present has been presented by NACADA and KRA. I would like to say that, for example, we have licensed 49 manufacturers. We have given them the permits. We have given the permits, for example, to also produce the potable spirits that we are talking about. And potable spirits, or second generation alcohol, as we call it, is a product that is made out of distilled fermented carbohydrates. But we adjusted the standard. And the standards are made by not Kenya Bureau of Standards. They are made by teams of experts, university professors, all experts. We invite them, they join the technical committees. So the amendment included that other than distillation of fermented carbohydrates, you can also mix neutral spirits in suitable proportion with water to be able to make the potable spirit. What we have seen in that revision is that we may need to review as to whether, as a country, we can afford to delete that part, where you mix the neutral spirit with water. Economically, if you look at that proposal, it would mean the value addition of our carbohydrates, because you have to, first of all, have carbohydrates, ferment, and undertake distillation. That, in general, will promote or accelerate our manufacturing agenda at the moment. We've had discussions with stakeholders in that sector on that proposal, and we'll be waiting for further consultation to see whether we can be able to do away with that. However, I want to report that standard is an East African standard. When it comes to how we do our work, we have engaged our third-party partners, PFUC agents abroad, that give certificates of conformity for products coming into the country. And as they come into the country, we have another layer. We have people at the ports that also draw samples and subject them to test. And I can confirm here that, Your Excellency, out of our surveillance, largely, we have had no major issues in terms of contaminants of products that we receive. When we got out there to control the manufacturers, because before we even permit them, we have to ascertain that they have sufficient control measures on the raw materials, in process, and also production, at the end of the production. And again, out of our report, the official one is that most of the products are complying. The issue that we have in all this process is that subsequently, there are manufacturers who are also counterfeiting their own product. The recent survey that we did, and that is now market surveillance, where we pick products from the supermarkets, we have come to discover that largely people are not even putting enough alcohol. Alcohol is expensive. The failures that we get, the non-compliance that we get, is not contaminant. It is reduced amount of alcohol. This is quite shocking because we would expect that there will be much more alcohol than expected. The other contaminant that has been there for some time, but we have managed to control to some extent, is methanol. Methanol is what used to kill people, cause blindness, and poison people in general. Now, we came up with a standard that now requires any methanol that is imported into the country is denatured. And denaturing means that you add a certain chemical that make this product quite bitter, that you cannot be able to consume. So these are some of the initiatives that we've been able to do. Now, when it comes to counterfeiting aspect, because most of the drinks, I would say, are also counterfeited. When you test, when you look around the counterfeited drinks, they obviously cannot meet the standards. And that is where we need to put much, much more effort in eradicating the counterfeited drinks where people are using other people's bottles. Before I conclude, Your Excellency, I would like to also say that we need, as a people, to be able to create an awareness, win the hearts and minds of our consumers to appreciate the quality. Most of the consumers are not aware the dangers and the cost associated with cheap product. And it is called the cost of poor quality. It comes with a very high cost. The other thing I would like to say, for us to win this war, I don't know whether this is appropriate to say here, but let me say, public officers indulging or participating or in active business of alcohol is also there. And I would request, because I'm a gatekeeper at the port, that the government generally make a policy that deters public officers in engaging in businesses of alcohol. Because we have challenges of consignment. When we are testing them, we also receive pressure. But we undertake inspection based on our mandates. With that, I would request and beg to take a seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the MD, KEBS, Your Excellency, the Deputy President. We are moving to the next session, and I would like to call my colleague, Rose Gakuo, to take us through a very brief session.
In your presence here, and we appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, all the remarks and the input we have received from our stakeholders. At this juncture, Your Excellency, we are crossing over to the final, the culmination of today's exercise, where we'll have the plenary to give room for questions, answers, and input from all members present here. Sir, at this juncture, I wish to acknowledge that we do have our Secretariat who will be fast and keep it pacey, collecting all the feedback that we receive to ensure that we have a communique and a way forward that will also assist us in giving a report on this exercise. So before we proceed, seeing that we have all been seated for so long, With your kind permission, sir, if we may be all upstanding, just to have a moment to stretch, and then we can go right into the plenary session, as we also have an opportunity to allow our PS Interior, Raymond Omolo, to prepare to moderate over this session. Your Excellency, sir, with your kind permission, the plenary session, ladies and gentlemen, will give us an opportunity and a platform to air our views, seeing that we have been given very significant inputs from subject matter experts, right from the national government administration offices, as well as our elected leaders. Will have a platform for all members present here to air their views so that we're able to build on that. It's a plenary session that will be open. We'll also request studio as well as our team from sound to be ready to avail our public address systems so that we're able to hear from everyone who will be engaging during this plenary session. Interior PS, Raymond Mulder, sir, most welcome as we moderate this session.
Your Excellency.